He's larger than life. He'll give you strife. He's Todd. He's tall, he's mean. He's labeling machine. He's Todd. Rides a motorbike. He'll tell you what it's like. He's Todd. Don't know what he'll say. He'll scare the kids away. He's Todd. He's Todd.
Hey, Big Todd here. BS with Todd. For those of you who have never seen this before, this platform, BS means something different to me, which I can't pronounce on the air, but for this show's purposes, it's Brother Solutions. And today we're going to talk about some pro audio video labeling. Now, at first I thought, okay, it's got to be the same as, EIA, TIA, ANSI 606, C or D, but boy, was I wrong. All right, and I'm reminded all the time how wrong I am. But this time I'll admit to it. I was wrong. All right, it's actually a little more complicated than I thought. So I did my research, and boy, was I surprised. There is actually a whole standard for pro audio video labeling, and it's a VIXA, all right, and it's formerly Infocom. And what I'm going to try and show you on this new platform that I have here today. By the way, what do you think of the new do? Right? I went through the Hair Club for Men and the costs and this thing was $1.99 off of Amazon. Actually, maybe $2.99. But anyway, hope you like it. All right, so back to the subject. So there's a whole standard based upon this. What I'm going to try and share on this new platform that I'm recording on, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you some of the standard. And it's actually pretty intricate, and they involve barcodes and all sorts of good stuff. But at the end of the day, whenever in doubt, just label it, right? It beats no label, especially if you're out doing a service call. Right, and there's really nothing there, and it turns into a big time-wasting mess. The VIXA standards, the current standards, can be purchased, but since I run my show on a shoestring budget, it's like $75. No, but I'm going to show you an old standard, and I'm going to show you how intricate it actually can be. So, without further ado, I'm going to try and share my screen, and let's see how this works. So let's do this, and let's do share screen. I hope this works. All right. Now let's do the window. Let's do this, and let's share. Now, as I'm waiting for this to come up, all right, here we go right here. All right, so this is good. So as you can see, this is a VIXA, right? This was done back in 2015. So it's old, right? There has been some revisions, right? So you're going to want to have to check that out if you're doing this type of work. So I'm going to start running through this, and I'm going to put these on because at my age, I have severe CSS, CHS, C, everything else. So anyway, let's go through a little bit of this stuff, and let's scroll down here. All right. So there's a lot of stuff in here, folks. There's a ton. There's the scope, the purpose, the application, and again, you can go through, all of this stuff on your own time. Right. These are going to be just highlights, right, of what we're doing here. There's the exclusions. Definitions, very important. Requirements, and this is where we get to the stuff that's really important, all right, is the actual requirements. And if you can see what's on screen right now, again, here starts the fun, all right? And now we're going to go into cable identification. Seems pretty easy so far, right? Your required primary data element, your unique identifier, and then they've got some type of cadence, as does 606 standards, right? And there's some examples there, all right? Again, it's going to talk about your signal type, your cable type designation, and there's a lot of little things that go with this, all right? Then there's secondary data elements, all right? And so, yeah, it's convoluted, maybe a little complicated, but if you were going through 606, let's say D right now, you're going to find something like this. And even though it seems convoluted and complicated, again, at the end of the day, I'm a standards guy. It's best to follow standards. So let's scroll a little bit more. All right. And here's some barcode. All right. Now, fortunately for everyone out there, Brother actually can produce these barcodes. And it's relatively simple. We have a new app called the Pro Label Tool app that has all of 1D and 2D barcodes. You're looking at a 1D barcode right now, the example. But you can also go 2D, such as a QR code, Aztec code, Coda bar. Again, they are suggesting, barcodes. All right. So again, that's something that we do. That is a specialty of what we do. So here you go into the characteristics of a cable labeling system. All right. The durability, very important, very important. So the labeling system shall have a design life equal to or greater than the cable to which it's attached. Now, we all know that cable is ever evolving. And, there may be some IBM Type 1 out there. There may be some old ABAM cable. You never know. All right. Cat 3, you never know. All right. Maybe even Cat 4. Those have been a lot of years. All right. And now, we're into Cat 6A, Cat 7, and whatever, the newer stuff is. So again, I wouldn't worry about this too much. If you're using a Brother label, that label is going to last until you take it off. All right. But again, what they're seeing here is that you shouldn't use a label that's going to fade over time, which a lot of my competitors do. So use a durable label, and boy, do we have a durable label. So the labeling system shall be compatible with withstanding moisture, heat, ultraviolet light, chemical elements, scratches, abrasions, and other impacts that may routinely occur at the point of the cable installation. I can tell you right now of 3 or 4 of my competitors that they're not going to be able to do this. And so keep in mind, with the Brother tape, all right, it is a laminated system. We can withstand heat up to 250 degrees Fahrenheit and 80 degrees below zero, right? We are going to be waterproof, abrasion proof, chemical proof, you name it, all right? So again, we meet all the requirements, all the above of what they're asking for as far as durability, all right? Scratches, scuffs, blah, blah, blah. You use a non-laminated tape. Well, how is that going to withstand scratches and scuffs and chemicals and blah, blah, blah? All right. So what they're asking for is a laminated tape. And all of the tape we have, except for the heat shrink and our TZEN 201 super narrow, is all going to be laminated. So we fit this criteria, right? So we're good to go there. All right. Again, the material, the labeling system shall be capable of receiving or inherently include machine printed letters, numbers, symbols, and shall be installed according to the label manufacturer's instructions to ensure the design life is achieved. No problem, right? You use a Brother printer in one of our cassettes, all right, in a plethora of different sizes, all right? You're not going to have a problem with this. The legibility, all right? And this is where it gets kind of goofy here, all right? Text margins shall be a minimum of 1 millimeter in the printable area. All right. Okay, text shall not be obscured by any part of the labeling system. Text shall not be obscured by any part of the labeling system. In other words, if you have a tail that wraps around somehow and is blocking the alphanumeric identifiers, it's not any good. All right. Text on the label shall be machine printed. All right. It just means don't use a Sharpie. All right. You can't do it. All right. Text height. All right. Again, we meet all this criteria. All right. All this criteria. We're talking about at this point, the text height right here. All right. We meet that criteria. Now, are you going to be able to set everything to these settings right here? That'd probably take a lot of time. The whole idea behind this, it's got to be legible, for God's sakes. I had to use these, right, even to see this on my screen here. So it's got to be something that is legible, all right? So don't do a 6-point font on a 1-inch tape. It doesn't make any sense, all right? Characteristics. It's even calling here. I'm telling you, it gets intricate. Text shall be all capitals. Woo! Non-italic. Is that racist? Or bold is permitted. All right. Gee, thanks. All right. Secondary data. Text should be all capitals. All right. Easy setting on a machine to make it all capitals. So no issue there. All right. Here's a couple of examples on the screen here, right? Center it. And if you're using one of our machines, it automatically centers it unless you tell it to go off to the left, the right, the bottom, the top, but it automatically centers it, all right? Here's where I've got an issue with this is calling out font sizes. Come on, right? Nah, I didn't write this, right? Whoever did this was pretty anal, right? But if you're following this to the T, then it needs to be sans serif, right? And if you got any questions on how to do this stuff with any of our printers, call me, right? Here's some more of their goofy stuff right here, right? I'm sorry, this right here. All right, text color, blah, blah, blah. I can't do this right. Anyway, text color shall be present in high contrast to the background color in the label. Okay, all right. So here's examples of conforming text placement, font, and spacing, right? This one here in the center that you're looking at, that's primarily our label, all right? What they're talking about here is more of a self-laminating, traditional self-laminating, and they're saying, no, right? They're saying to use this. Well, you know what? In question, here's our label right in the center, and we repeat the identifiers. So again, very easy, all right? Orientation, oh my God, all right? So here's where it gets a little more intricate, right? Location on cable even, and it gives you measurements of how far the label should be back and so forth. I'm all for standards, right? But if you're a little bit off here, a little bit off there, are you going to be hit by the Avixa police? Probably not. These are just, they're standards. Yes, it says shall be located within a minimum. Are they going to shut down your job? Well, if you have somebody that is extremely anal, well, they may, because you didn't follow this right here. I can tell you that I preach 606 standards all the time. And, I wish more people would follow those standards. They're not as intricate as these standards. But again, they're really getting into the nitty gritty with this right here. There's consideration being given for cable bundling. Oh, thanks. All right. And then they go into where a label positioned within 300 millimeter, blah, 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 right? Again, you do what you want to do. I'm telling you, this is what they're saying as far as the standard, right? Let's scroll down a little bit. Consistency of the cable labels, right? All labels shall be constructed of a consistent material for primary data and consistent material for optional secondary data. The primary data material and optional secondary data materials are not required to be identical with one another, but primary elements shall be consistent with one another, and secondary shall be consistent with one another. Whew. All right. All right. So again, they're really getting into the nitty gritty on this. If you follow standards, right, as I do, believe it or not, I do. I don't have to agree with this stuff, but I follow standards. I've been out in the field. I've installed Pro AV. These weren't available back then, back in the day, all right? But they're here now, and there's new revisions since 2015. And so do I go out and I preach, again, like I said, 606 standards? Absolutely. Does everyone use them? Hell no, right? But again, if you're a standards junkie, all right, like Chuck out there, I know Chuck Bowser's out there, right? He is he's anal about these standards, as everyone should be. Again, this is printed material that's available that for your Pro AV installations, it is the standard. Okay. All labels shall be of sufficient height for the outer dimensions to meet the installation guidelines provided by the manufacturer. Provided by the manufacturer. Well, that's interesting. So you show me what manufacturer out there has, and there's a couple I can think of, maybe this is a quiz thing, that have their own labeling guidelines, all right? But again, by the manufacturer. So good luck with the installation guidelines provided by the manufacturer. Okay, I know of no cable manufacturer. Well, I take it back a couple. But they don't have guidelines provided on the connectivity and on the cable, right? So again, the whole idea behind this is just please label it. And if you have any questions, call me. I will help you with this, all right? Let's go down a little bit more. In environments and applications where additional physical protection is required to preserve label integrity and readability for the specified design life, additional protective materials should be applied. In such cases, the additional material shall be consistently applied to every... So Scotch tape? Can you apply Scotch tape for added protection? Again, a gray area here, right? Because if you go with a unprotected label material, all right, if it's not laminated, it's going to scratch, it's going to scuff, it's going to fade, all right? So do you take Scotch tape? No, what you do is you use a laminated label. And all of the Brother laminated label, specifically for what they're asking, is laminated. All right, so you don't need to do that. So I can list 2 or 3 of my competitors that you would have to take some type of material, Scotch tape, and wrap it around that. All right, no need to do that. All right, just use Brother to begin with, for God's sakes. All right, unless defined otherwise within the labeling schema. Shima. Whoops. All text should be the same color. Okay. All right. Text colors shall be present or present a high contrast to the background. So in other words, don't use white on white or black on black. It's not going to pass this. Anyway, again, here's some more examples of what to do and what not to do and so forth and whatnot. And again, I may be making light of this But use this to the best of your abilities. All right. And I'm a big fan of this because the more you follow this, the more it leads to brother. All right. With everything they're asking for right here. All right. There's referenced publications, ANSI, NEC, Bixie, 568, so forth and whatnot. Anyway, it's all right there. And then it gives us too power cables covered by, so anyway, this is a nice document to go off of. There's some examples of data elements and labeling schemas, whatever. It's informative. So anyway, let this be your guide, all right? There's some examples of text information here. Whew, all right? And then there's some information right there. So the other thing I wanted to show you real quick is I'm going to, and hopefully it switches to this. Here it is, all right? So this is the Avixa website, and it's got a lot of really good information right here, okay? And it's got the stuff that I didn't want to pay for, all right? But as we scroll down, there's audio coverage uniformity. Documentation is a big thing with 606. So there's also documentation requirements for Pro AV, okay? So again, that's available. And again, you got to be a premium or elite member, which I am not, right? There's your image system, contrast ratios, energy management. There's AV system performance verification. There's just a whole lot. Here's the cable labeling for AV systems, all right? And it's free for premium and elite members. Otherwise, I think it's like $75. I don't know how much it is to join these guys. But there's just a whole lot of information here. So there's a lot more pro audio video that I'm dealing with and that are going into low voltage installations. But this is a really, really good site to get the information you need. Rack building. All right. Well, so far, based upon this picture right here, he's not doing a real good job. It's just me. I'm critiquing this work right here, but hey, it is what it is. All right. Unified building automation. We all do a lot of that. We talk about smart buildings. I've had previous episodes on labeling smart buildings, rack design for AV systems, sound systems. All right. So there is a lot of good stuff here. All right, so if you get the opportunity, you can see up here at the top of the screen, all right, right here, all right, go check these guys out. A wealth of information, and the more that us, data dudes get into this area, which is now part of low voltage, security is hypothetically part of low voltage, the more we need to know. And again, it's all about identification, liability issues. And then when you come back for any service calls, if you do it right the first time on your identification, in the end, you end up saving money. So I'm going to stop sharing and hopefully I come back on screen. There I am. So anyway, that's it. That's it for the show today. Thank you very much. I hope it's been informative. If you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to me at any given time. And I will share my wealth of knowledge with you. So, with that being said, I think, we're talking about I think we're going 15 minutes so far. I think I've covered a lot in 15 minutes. Stay tuned for the next BS with Todd. I think the next one, I believe we have Bixie, the Bixie recap. I'll be going to Bixie pretty soon. I'm actually going to travel the floor instead of inviting customers and whatnot to the booth. So we're going to see how it turns out. Right? It sounds like it'll be fun. Anyway, with that being said, thank you very much. Hope to see you on the next show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you need information on that. That's growing every day. The Morse code email. So I got to tell you, the Morse code email is something we're sending out to people who subscribe, and it's chock full of industry information. Labeling gets boring, all right? Even I get bored. And so the cool thing about the Morse code email is we talk about labeling, and labeling goes with everything. Everything you see behind me, right? It needs to be labeled. Well, that's already labeled right there. That was etched in there. All right. But everything you see back here, if you're testing, certifying, chances are that we at Brother have a partnership with that manufacturer to make your life a hell of a lot easier out in the field to label. Nobody likes to label. I don't like to label, right? So if I can make your job easier, I've done my job. And so, questions on any labeling, I don't care what it is, safety labeling, pro AV labeling, all right, security labeling, datacom labeling, labeling, there's a different type of labeling for, data centers, barcoding, asset management. Reach out to me, all right? That's what I'm all about. So with that being said, hope to see you on the next episode in a couple of weeks. Stay tuned for the After Bixie post show. All right. I've got a bunch of manufacturers lined up. Hopefully they're willing to talk to me, but it should be a good show. Thank you very much again. I keep saying that because I am very thankful for your viewership. And until we meet again, take care.